Welcome to aminacademy.com. In psychology of mind and behavior, let us discuss about sensory processes. Psychology and sensation are closely interconnected. Sensation refers to the process of receiving information from the environment through our senses, while psychology examines how we perceive, interpret, and make sense of that sensory information. Sensory processes can vary in their normal functioning, but they can also exhibit abnormalities that can have significant impact on an individual's perception and psychological well-being. Let's first discuss the normal sensory processes. It involves five main senses: sight, that is vision; hearing, audition; taste, gustation; smell, olfaction; and touch, tactile sensation. Each sense has specific sensory receptors that detect and transmit information to the brain for processing. For example, the eyes contain photoreceptors that detect light, and ears have receptors that detect sound waves, and the taste buds on the tongue detect different flavors. When we encounter stimuli in our environment, the sensory receptors pick up the relevant information and transmit it to the brain through neural pathways. In the brain, this information is perceived, processed, and interpreted, resulting in our conscious perception of the sensory input. This process allows us to recognize objects, perceive colors, hear sound, taste flavors, feel textures, and so on. However, sensory processes can also experience abnormalities, leading to various sensory disorders or perceptual disorders. Here are few examples. Sensory overload. Sensory overload. What is that? Some individuals may have heightened sensitivity to sensory stimuli, leading to an overload of sensory information. This can result in discomfort, anxiety, and difficulty processing and filtering sensory input. Synesthesia. Synesthesia is a perceptual phenomena where stimulation of one sensory or cognitive pathway leads to experience in different sensory or cognitive pathway. For example, a person both synesthesia may associate colors with specific sounds or tastes. Secondary integration disorder. Sensory loss. Hallucinations. Hallucinations involve perceiving sensory stimuli that are not actually present. Next, phantom limb syndrome. Hyperosis. Anosmia. Propagnosia, like different disorders are there. Now, let us discuss further about sensory processes. A biological basis of behavior and experience, including sensory processes, involves that intricate interplay of the nervous system, sensory receptors, and the brain's processing centers. Sensory processes, which are crucial for receiving and interpreting stimuli from the environment and within the body, are fundamental to how we perceive, interact with, and respond to the world. Next, some key components of processes. Sensory receptors. Specialized cells or nerves ending that detect stimuli like light, sound, touch, taste, and smell. These receptors convert the stimuli into electrical signals that can be transmitted by the nervous system. Sensory receptors are specialized cells that detect stimuli and initiate the processes of sensation, allowing us to perceive and interact with the world around us. They convert various forms of energy like light, sound, or pressure into electrical signals that the nervous system can interpret. These processes This process is crucial for survival, enabling us to react to our environment, find food, communicate, and much more. Nervous system. The central nervous system, that is the brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, nerves outside the brain and spinal cord, play a crucial role in receiving, processing, and responding to sensory information. The nervous system plays a crucial role in shaping our mind and behaviors. Psychology, particularly biopsychology, also known as the psychobiology or behavioral neuroscience, explores the relationship between the brain nervous system and mental processes. This field investigates how biological factors, including the brain structure and nervous system's function, influence our thoughts, emotion, and action. Sensory pathways. Look at here. Specific nerve pathways carry sensory information from receptors to the brain for processing. These are some sense areas. Look at this. Touch here, vestibular, smell behind, hearing behind, thalamus inside, vision here, taste behind, and association areas. Sensory pathways are the neural routes that transmit information from sensory receptors in the body to the brain, allowing us to perceive and interact with the world around us. These pathways play a crucial role in both sensation and perceptions, and disruptions can significantly impact behavior and cognition. Brain regions. Different brain regions are involved in processing different types of sensory information. For example, the visual cortex processes visual information while the auditory cortex processes auditory information. The biological basis of behavior and experience encompasses how brain structure and function, along with other bodily systems, influence our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Key brain regions involved include the cerebral cortex, responsible for higher level cognitive functions, the limbic system, involved in emotions and memory, and the prefrontal cortex, which regulates behavior and decision making. The how sensory process contribute to behavior. Sensation. Sensory receptors detect stimuli, triggering the initial sensory experiences. Perceptions. The brain interprets the organizes sensory information into meaningful perceptions, allow us to understand our surroundings. Response. Based on perception, the brain initiates appropriate responses which can range from simple reflexes to complex behaviors. Examples of sensory processes. Vision. Light enters the eyes and is processed by the retina and visual cortex, allowing us to see and recognize objects. Hearing. Sound waves are detected by the ears and processed by the auditory cortex, enabling us to hear and understand speech. Touch. Sensory receptors in the skin detect pressure, temperature, and pain, providing us with the information about our physical environment. Taste and smell. Sensory receptors in the tongue and nose detect chemicals, allowing us to experience flavors and scent. Proprioception, body awareness. Specialized receptors in muscles and joints provide information about the body's positions and movement, which is crucial for coordination and balance. Important of sensory processes. Sensory processes are fundamental to our ability to interact with the world, learn, adapt, and survive. They provide us with the information we need to navigate our environment, avoid danger, and engage in social interactions. Sensory processing disorders. Some individuals experience difficulties with sensory processing, leading to challenges in daily life. Understanding the biological basis of sensory processing is crucial for developing effective interventions for these individuals. Neuroplasticity. The brain's ability to recognize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life is particularly relevant to sensory processing, as sensory experiences can shape brain development and functions. Biological basis of behavior. Understanding the biological basis of sensory process is essential for a comprehensive understanding of the biological underpinnings of all human behavior. So far, we discussed about psychology of mind and behavior. In that, we discussed about sensory processes. We have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.